All right, with a good friend, we've known each other, and Jim sadly can't get 29 of these 30 years back because I'm sure he wish he could have. But we've known each other for about 30 years. Bills Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Klly joining us now. Jimbo, great to see you, buddy.
How you doing, Bo?
I'm doing good. Happy holidays to you and the entire fam. I'm sure you got some fun plans for the holidays.
Yeah, to a certain point, we're staying here, of course, and my daughter, Erin, and Parker, her husband, live just 10 minutes away from here. They're all coming over. My youngest daughter, Cameron, just graduated from Liberty University. She just got her master's, so she's done. And my mother and father-in-law will be coming here also, and just always a great time. I love Christmas because it always brings back great memories of back when I was growing up. Even though we didn't get much, the love that we had in our family, the six boys and mom and dad, it was priceless.
What was your earliest sports memory of Christmas? Like, do you remember the first sporting piece of equipment or like a helmet or a jersey or a ball that you might have gotten? Do you recall?
No, the one I remember more than anything, because you got to understand, we didn't have much. I mean, our winter gloves were white socks. That's because we really couldn't afford them and couldn't afford gloves. And I remember probably the best one I ever got was a bike. Remember they had was it the sissy bar in the back, they called it, in a banana seat?
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites because I remember when I got it, I couldn't believe it. I've never gotten anything like that in my life. And all of a sudden, there was like 4 inches of snow on the ground. I didn't care. I was out riding my bike in the snow, and it was almost like a dream come true for me. So back in the day, but yeah, it was. You know what? We made Christmas very special in the Kelly family.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I mean, when you get things like that and you think to yourself, I don't think I was that good this year. Right? I mean,
And the thing is, it's totally different now. Your
yeah.
kids get spoiled to a certain point
Yeah.
by mommy in another room. But you know what? Christmas has always been a very special time in my life. As a matter of fact, there are times when I'm on a plane and I said, you know what? I need a little boost. And I would put Christmas music on the airplane. It could be June or July. And nobody's like, what? I go, yeah, I love Christmas music. Of course, I love all the older Christmas music, like Burl Ives and all the older singers, Frank Sinatra and people like that sang the old songs. And I still have them downloaded on my phone. So I get to listen to that all the time. So I still love it.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's segue. Let's get into some football with you. Tell me about Josh Allen, and as a Hall of Fame quarterback yourself, how much in awe you are of him. I don't think we've ever seen a guy his size with his athleticism and football skills and natural God-given talent, maybe ever. I mean, when you're watching that guy, how often is your jaw dropping and being like, what is this?
I mean, I was used to seeing that. I watch myself all the time on film. Oh. But no, it's amazing. Yeah, you're right. You hit it right. I'm in awe at some of the things he does. It's natural to him. It's like a part of his game. You don't have to make it up. He just does it. And when he is able to play his game, we're unbelievable. Of course, just like everybody, you pray that he doesn't get hurt. But he's the major part of our whole team, as everybody knows. Everybody already knows that. And just his ability to be able to run with the ball, being able to get down, hopefully many times more, so we don't have to worry about him. But he's got that cannon arm. And I don't know about you, Bull, but at the beginning of the year, as the games were going on, we started getting more injuries. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And then especially at the wide receiver position, all of a sudden you got all these guys are stepping up, and Coleman and Shakir, you got guys that are stepping up, and Kincaid and Dawson Knox, playing a big role too now. It's like, wow, you never expected it to be like it is now, but it all starts with the guy under center, number 17. He's doing an unbelievable job. And I'm proud of him. I just at times I look at him and say, wow, what would it have been like to have his ability as far as his athletic ability on running the ball?
Right. Well, and that's, I think you would have loved that. I mean, you were a guy, but you would be the guy that people would yell at for trying because you wouldn't avoid contact, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is, the funny thing about it is people said, you never ran the ball that much. I go, how many yards do you think? Well, I'll ask you, you might know this though. How many yards do you think I had in my career? Rushing. Take a wild guess.
485.
Man, I broke 1,000. I did. I had like, I don't know, 1,075 or something. I don't even remember the exact number, but I broke 1,000 yards. I mean, the first couple of years, I was younger, I was healthier, I was able to get around and move a little more. My offensive line wasn't very good, so I had to find a way to run. But overall, I got down when I had to, and even though when I played the game, I wanted to make sure that my tackles knew where I was going to be, and I was stepping up in the pocket. Where Josh, when things break down, he scoots. He's outside. When he runs right, probably 80% of the time he's going to complete that pass. And he's just an amazing athlete, amazing quarterback. And I'm so happy. I'm so glad that we finally got somebody that can lead, hopefully, this team. And I'm not going to go where we're going to go. We'll have to wait and see. But take one game at a time. The old cliche, but he's a magic man.
How much do you think he like? Let's compare like your career and his in terms of when you feel like you really were at a level where you were always in control, always really confident, knowing that you were going to perform at a particular level. Because I think he's gotten there at, what is he, 28-ish, 29, whatever he is. How much do you think that comes into play in terms of his maturity and just being that age and being in the league and seeing as much as he's seen to now? I think his IQ has improved. Like, he's much more careful with the ball than he's been in past years, right? Yeah. He's avoiding collisions more than you even just said that than he has in the past. So how much do you think that has to do with being this now far into the league compared to maybe like you too? Like, do you feel like when you were about the same age as he was when you were kind of getting to your prime?
You know what? I played, as you all know, I played a couple of years in the USFL first. So that helped get me prepared for the NFL. And then I felt pretty comfortable by my second or third year in the league. But I really started feeling real comfortable when I was able to start calling my own plays. Ted Marchero did such a great job of preparing me during the course of the week to get me ready for the game. And also I had Frank Drake as my backup. He did a lot. He helped me out a lot also. And when you're able to be in the same system for that many years, things are going to start clicking. It's not you're having to think about it. It just comes natural. Boom, boom, boom. And I think Josh, even though he's had a couple offense coordinators, I think the overall part of the offensive system has been pretty similar. Not identical, but similar. Yeah. And having the same receivers also helps. And now how he was able to do it this year when – I mean, some of the guys you never played with before, and it's all of a sudden you have to learn on the run because quarterback and receiver, they have to be on, on the same page, but you have to be. Like when you're going to throw a back shoulder pass, the receiver's got to know that. If he doesn't, it's going to be intercepted. So you have to have the same mental approach to the game. You got to be able to watch film together. And when you're in the film room, you got to be able to communicate, talk to each other. And I think that could be a big reason why Josh is doing so well now is the communication he has with his receivers and also having those big guys up front. I think his offensive line's pretty much been intact for most of the year. Same guys all the time. So it's great to see.
Yeah, I was going to say he is definitely not doing it alone. I mean, Brandon Beane has put together that offense top to bottom with players that just complement everything they want to do. There's a reason why Ty Johnson is in the mix. There's a reason why Mac Hollins is in the mix, right? Yeah.
But without a doubt. And when you got that running game, and the thing is, our running game's pretty good. You got Cook, you got Johnson, you got guys that can run the football. And then you throw on top of that a quarterback. It's like, the Of course, there's other quarterbacks in the league that are really good running the ball, but there's nobody like Josh. Josh has the whole full pack. Yeah, you look at Lamar Jackson; he's very good. I mean, I could go on and on. There's a handful of guys that are really good, but Josh just has that special look about him as far as once he gets outside the pocket, and teams are going to have to start spying on him more. Have to have somebody be able to keep an eye on him. But when you start doing that, and then you leave guys wide open, you also now can throw to the running back, which we saw a lot last week. So the overall view of everybody on the team, the receivers, everybody's clicking, and just keep our fingers crossed they all stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure. This could be a total reach, but how much do you think the offseason, hey, the Bills are rebuilding. They lost Diggs and Davis and Morse and Hyde and Poyer. How much do you think he heard of that and actually took it to heart and said, I'm not going to allow it to happen? Like, I'm not going to allow us to fall off. How much do you think that has played into this, if any?
Really a little bit. I don't know because I'm not in that locker room to hear what the guys are saying. And the old saying again is next man up. We've done that a lot, and especially this year. Somebody always stepped up. Somebody always filled that void. And when you got guys like that, and what Brandon Beane has been able to do is bring in those guys. He just brought in Micah Hyde, brought him back. So I think that's going to add to this defense also, which we definitely need to start slowing teams down a little bit. But anytime that you're able to do that, I think that's a big asset, being able to pull people together. And Josh, from what I've been told, is such a great leader, not only in the locker room, but, in the game for sure, but away from the football field too.
I was going to say, that's a great segue. Thank you for my next question, which was about, it's sort of cliche because you hear the term all the time of culture, right? In that room, it doesn't start for me. It doesn't start with the coach. It starts with Josh. If you look at Josh, just the way he carries himself, there's no ego. He's always sort of treating things light, like keeping things light, but focused, right? He's in the community, and it seems just from what I've seen, and I haven't seen a ton, I've seen like most people, but it seems like every guy is just like that. They're having fun with it. They're in the community, they're family. My question is, it started with you. Look, you were tough as nails, and so was your team. So I guess my question is, how much does it really start with a quarterback?
Every team does. Every team starts with a quarterback. There's no doubt about it. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going anywhere. Look, what happened to the Patriots, Tom Brady. I can go with Drew Brees. There's so many quarterbacks that, have been very, very good, and when they leave, it's gone. It starts with the quarterback. And I think having him being so close with his guys, even though they don't do what we used to do. After games where you go to my house, they don't do that. But I'll tell you what, the closest from what I've been told and what I understand, that even away from there, they do get together, but not quite like we did. But when they're in that locker room, they're all together. When they're on the field, they're all pulling for each other. And that's what you have to do. The closest of this team definitely is a big added plus, without a doubt.
For a guy that's at his level, the money that he's making, he's so likable. He's so, like I said, he just has this aura about him. Like he's so magnetic. Like everybody wants to be around him. You know what I mean? With that much success, with that much sort of likability, how much does his air quotes team around him need to be important? I'm talking about like home life, family, even his agent. How much of that does it help play into his success?
Well, I got to know his mom and dad, and so did my wife Jill, and of course my kids too, and just how close his family is, and being able to know that you carry that. It's how you're brought up, and I've been very blessed to have great people around me with my mom and dad, my 5 brothers. Now I got my beautiful wife Jill and my 2 kids and a great son-in-law Parker. And the people that he has around him, that his friends around him, that helps. Anytime you're able to do a lot more smiling than frowning, that is huge, especially when you play games. And after the game, you want to be able to have fun. Good example, what was it, 49er game when him and the coach were on the ground doing the old angel, snow
Yep.
angel, just having everybody enjoy himself. But of course, what brings that on? Winning. And hopefully we'll continue to do that. But as long as Josh is healthy, we're doing a pretty much a mix up with the run and pass. And I think in limit the amount Josh runs the football, I think we'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we already are pretty good. Great.
Right. This is so. I'm going to move away from Josh. I mean, your expertise obviously is quarterback play, but what is the lure of coordinators wanting to leave great situations to become head coaches in the NFL? And I asked the question because when Eric Bieniemy left Kansas City, it was mind blowing to me. Like, here he is, the OC with Patrick Mahomes, ring after ring after ring, and he goes to the Commanders for the same exact job, and then leaves a year later to go to UCLA, and now he's out of a job. And then you look at guys like all the Patriots coordinators who left Tom Brady to go become head coaches, and almost every one of them were busts. So I guess I know people are saying, oh, Joe Brady is going to be at the head of everybody's list to be a head coach. But guess what? Joe Brady's going to go to another team and not have Josh Allen. So when are the coordinators going to smarten up and be like, hey, look, I have maybe at some point the GOAT to coach, and I'm making a really good dime. Why don't I just stick around for a while? You know what I mean?
Well, of course, just like anybody, you're in college, your ultimate goal is to be an NFL player. Coaching, yeah, you want to be able to be a quarterback, but your ultimate goal is to be a head coach. Not everybody, but majority. Good example, Brian Dable. Unbelievable, had a great year. Is wondering why he moved on. He got coach of the year. You're not doing so well now. It comes down to who do you have around you?
Yeah,
you have to have you have to have great players. But it starts, as we just said a little bit ago, it starts with the quarterback, without a doubt. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going anywhere. Good example, Bill Belichick. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. He doesn't have a Tom Brady caliber. Where's he going? North Carolina or something?
Yeah,
like
yep.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting to see what he does. But you gotta start with the quarterback, and you got to be able to do that. And then when you are a coordinator, yeah, the ultimate is be a head coach, but also understand what you have going on right under your feet. And what Joe Brady had, it's weird you said, because the other night, I think it was somebody, maybe one of the announcers talked about him maybe going somewhere, getting an opportunity to be a head coach. When you do that, you better find out who they have on that football team. You got to find out who the ownership is. Are they willing to give you the reins and let you run with it? So there's a lot of logistics that go into moving on from being an offense coordinator or defense coordinator into being a head coach. So you got to have a lot of things in place before you make that move.
Did Frank Reich ever? Did you guys ever talk about even when he was playing? Did you think he was ever going to be a coach? And when he ultimately did become a head coach, was there ever a conversation like, man, I knew one day, right? I mean, did you ever have those kind of conversations when you were playing, and then later in life when he got to that point?
Well, I always knew Frank. I think his father was a coach also, so I knew the way he was, his mannerisms in meetings and how he went about his work. I knew he was going to be a coach, without a doubt. I knew Frank was going to be a great one, and he's done a pretty darn good job. Now, he's, of course, he's have a job, but he's taking a little leave of absence, getting paid for 3 years, and kicking back and relax. And I don't know if he's going to come back, but I know how much he loves the game, and he probably will. But yeah, that's for me. My wife always yelled at me, probably the last 15, 20 years, why don't you coach? Because she hears me yelling at the TV, yelling at players. What are they doing? Why don't they do this? She goes, why don't you be a coach? I go, Jill, you got to know your priorities. She goes, what's your priority? I go, hunting, fishing, and camping. I love it. That's what I want to do. I played enough. I called the plays for 6 years in a row. I got burned out. I'm done. Let me go. Let me do what I want to do.
Well, I mean, look, when you do go hunting and camping and fishing and all of that, you're out of the house. So it's not, she didn't say that to get you out of the house.
Oh, that's a good one. No, well, when you're in football, I think you're more so out of the house than you would be if you're hunting, camping, and doing all those things.
Right.
Because Football, you start at like 7 in the morning. You don't get home till some 7 or 8 o'clock. And then, yeah, you have your little vacation during the off season, but then it starts back up. You got to start thinking about the draft. Especially college. That's one thing I would never, ever want to do. Be a college football coach. You got to be a father. You got to be a recruiter. You got to be able to do all those things. There's no possible way that anybody would ever, think about asking me to be a coach in college.
You're running a corporation if you're a college coach. That's for
sure.
Oh,
boy.
Yeah. Okay, so the age-old question, it comes up all the time because people always say, who? I'll just use the Patriots as the example. But who is more important, Belichick or Brady? You hear this all the time. Like, could Belichick win without Brady? Could Brady win without Belichick all the time? So the question is for you, does the coach make the quarterback or vice versa, or do they both have to act as a unit?
Yeah, exactly. I think they both do. Because you have to understand the coach is in command of all the players. Quarterback's in command of the offense and what he does. The head coach got to be able to bring the right people in. He's got to be able to say the right thing. He's got to be able to do the right thing. Yeah, quarterback, that's part of your job to do that. There's no doubt that Tom Brady made Bill Belichick. Even though Bill Belichick is a great coach, he's a Hall of Famer, all those great things. When you have a guy like Tom Brady and what he did with that football team, a good indication when he went to Tampa, they wind up winning the Super Bowl. That just goes to show that, to me personally, I think he's the greatest of all time. I think he's done an unbelievable job. But I think it works hand in hand with head coach and the quarterback.
Yeah. So last thing, without jinxing it, but what do you think the biggest obstacle for the Bills besides injury in themselves? I just feel like this year is playing out to be theirs. I mean, the AFC with Mahomes perhaps being injured, with the Ravens being kind of up and down, with the East, obviously, we were very fortunate for Tua to be out for a while and Rodgers to not be very good. And obviously the Patriots are what they are. And the Steelers, you're not really sure if Russell Wilson is going to be, week in and week out. It just seems like things are setting up almost perfectly for this team. So what's going to stop them?
Bo, it's and I know that being a player, former player, any given week, anybody could be beat. It doesn't matter. It's a good example, when you're playing a Super Bowl, one play could be the difference between winning and losing a football game. It's exactly the same. It doesn't matter whether it's a Super Bowl or playoff game or regular season game. You have to be on your game all the time. And you got to understand when you can take that little break and when you can't. And once, good example, it always comes up in my mind, how we let it slip away, I think it was 2 years ago when you let Jacksonville beat us. And when it came down to the end of the year, that one game that we could have won, it could have been different between us playing right here in Orchard Park or going on the road, I think it was to Kansas City. So you have to be able to focus on what you got in hand and then go from there. But home field advantage, I think, is huge, especially here in Buffalo. You got the Bills Mafia, which is unbelievable. But I think home field advantage is key. But we have a good enough team that we can win on the road, which we've proved many times over again. But the thing is, you have to take one game at a time and just focus on what you have at hand.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you hear coaches and players say one game at a time, listen to them. They mean it. I mean, you're hearing it from a Hall of Famer here.
Yeah, and people say, really? Yeah, everybody said that. Well, that's the way it is. You cannot look past the New England Patriots and think about playing the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. You got to think about what we have at hand. And to go and do what we did in Detroit was huge. I mean, even though they had their injuries, so did we. But the thing is, being able to win on the road is huge. And it gets you almost prepared for, once a playoffs start, whether you're on the road or at home. But just like anybody, you want to sleep in your own bed. You want to be in your hometown. You want to have your fans behind you. And as a quarterback, you don't want to have to worry about the crowd noise when you're getting up under center. So I just hope that we can find a way, and Kansas City can find a way to lose 2 more games.
Yeah, right. Exactly. My dad always used to say before he passed, he always used the word focus. And I think that That lives true today.
Yep.
The team that is most focused and clearly prepared and ready to go is going to do well every time. Hey man, thank you for the time. I love you to death. You've always been so incredibly gracious with anything I've ever asked you for, and we've done together. And I treasure your friendship more than you could ever possibly know. Have a great holiday. Have a great Christmas with the family. And thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it during a really busy time for you.
My pleasure, boy. You take care of yourself. It's always good talking. Have a very Merry Christmas, and I pray to the good Lord that 2025 is better for all of us.
You bet, man. Thanks so much.
Take care,
I appreciate
bud.
it. You
Good
got it,
talking
buddy.
with you.
Thank you.